Thank you for tuning in to the Helium Radio Network. You are listening to a rebroadcast of a previously recorded show.
Peaceful Warriors Wellness. Feel better, move better, be better. When you feel better, you feel more like you. And when you move better, there's so much you can do. Be who you were meant to be. Peaceful Warriors Wellness. Feel better, move better, be better. Peaceful Warriors.
Welcome to another edition of the Feel Better, Move Better, Be Better podcast. I'm Scott Roberts, and I'm going to be your host today. And my wife and I are the owners of Peaceful Warriors Wellness Center in downtown St. Petersburg. We're located at 19 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Street South. You can be found online at www.peacefulwarriorswellness.com. You can always give us a call at 727-822-8866 as well. And we have a couple of great things happening today. We're going to go ahead and do our self-care check-in like we always do. And then we are going to have a guest on our show today, Miss Corey Jenkins, our Love You to Life coach. She's going to be joining us today in just a few minutes as well. So it's really exciting stuff. Glad you're here with us, and hope you enjoy the podcast. So the first thing we're going to do is go through our self-care check-in. The first thing I like to talk about is water. It's recommended that you drink at least 50% of your body weight in ounces every single day. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you want to make sure you're drinking at least 100 ounces of water during your day. So that's one of the things that you have control over. The second thing we like to talk about is your nutrition. It's very vitally important to be able to eat 7 to 13 servings of vegetables, fruits, and berries in your diet every day, or to find a bioavailable alternative to help supplement that. I personally use Juice Plus. It's a great company and great product. But you want to make sure you're concentrating on whole foods instead of processed foods. So get away from the boxes, get away from the cans, get away from the jars. The third thing that we like to talk about is exercise and movement. You at least get 20 minutes of exercise every day, a brisk walk or more. And that's definitely something that you want to do every day. And then the fourth component of your self-care check-in is getting good quality of sleep. So 7 to 9 hours a day of uninterrupted sleep. Some of the things that you can really focus on there is turning off your devices, not having your TV in the background, putting your phone down, and separating your bedtime from your other activities that you like to do. I know a lot of people get in the habit of having that wind down time in bed until they fall asleep, but it's really best if you can turn those things off and get your full rest and concentrate and focus on that. So in addition to that, obviously it's important to do self-care in what you're listening to and reading. We're going to be getting into that in a little bit more detail in a few minutes with Corey Jenkins. And then what kind of maintenance are you doing as far as chiropractic care, acupuncture, massage therapy? Those are different things that you can do on a holistic level as opposed to waiting until you are in an emergency situation and have to go see a doctor. So if you're doing those things, you're less likely to need medical care in your life. It will help save you a lot of time, money, and improve your quality of life, which is what we're all about here at Peaceful Warriors Wellness Center. So that's our self-care check-in for today. And so now we're going to introduce my good friend, Corey Jenkins. Go ahead and say hello.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me, Scott and Lena. Lena's here in spirit. She's sitting next to us.
Yep. So she may not be in voice today, but she is here in the office with us and participating regardless. So, and of course, we have Roma as well, our trusty assistant.
And Dory, the cute little puppy.
Dory's ever present. She's our office manager. If you've ever been in our office and have met Dory, people all the time are wondering where she's at. A lot of times she's under the table and in session with a client already. So, but she's definitely a key part of our office and has been here for 7 years now. So it's pretty cool. So Corey, tell us a little about you and who you are, a little bit about your background. And what is Love You to Life?
Awesome. I would love to. No pun intended. I use that word a lot. And when I started this whole process, I was actually in my 20s and took courses. I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri. My mom said, "Hey, I want you to take this course that I took like forever ago." And she put me through something called Landmark Education's Landmark Forum. And I did their whole curriculum for living. And then met someone who was in Juice Plus. This is like 20 plus years ago. I'm in my 20s. I'm like, I'm invincible. Why do I need that? But she slowly, through loving, little dripping sessions of information, shared with me why. And finally, one day she goes, "Corey, does that stuff on your face bother you?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" "Yes." And I had acne. It wasn't horrific, but it wasn't great. And I finally tried Juice Plus. Within 6 months, my acne cleared up. It was amazing. But what was more amazing was the personal development journey that I went on through learning about Juice Plus and all of the education, not just about nutrition in general, which was amazing and turned me on to a whole different way of taking care of my body. But the other piece was the education and personal development that they're all about. And it was with Juice Plus that I met Jim Rohn and did a year-long program with him. It was through Juice Plus that I met so many of the mentors that I now share their messages with others. And so Love You to Life is all about really starting with you, starting with loving you and loving you, not the feeling necessarily, because that comes later. The verb starts it. So in relationships, not just with yourself, but with others too, love, the verb, is how you can create love, the feeling, in some respects. Because if you really take the time to think about how to love someone, how to show someone, including yourself, love, it changes the way that you interact with yourself, the way you talk to yourself, the things you put in your body, the time you take to take care of yourself at the gym or sleeping, all those things, drinking water that you talk about, Scott, are loving yourself. And so what I talk to people about is loving themselves to life. So many people love themselves to death. And the opposite of that is loving yourself to life. So that is my focus. That is why I started doing what I do. So many years ago, I actually took a course with T. Harv Eker and the Secrets of the Millionaire Mind and went through their whole Quantum Leap program. And at the end, I took a different course called Train the Trainer. And it was in that course, I was sitting there and they were showing me how to get up on stage and train people. And I'm like, I love this. I love the idea of spreading that message to someone else. But at that time, I was full on into Juice Plus, doing it full time in sales. I had been I had been building it to be a stay-at-home mom. And things shifted in my life when my ex said he didn't want kids. I had built my business up. I was a senior sales coordinator, ready to be QNMD, which are just the levels in Juice Plus's structure, right? And I realized I wasn't going to have kids. My why disappeared. I help people find their why. Because when your why disappears, like mine did, my business flatlined. I kept earning the same amount, right? But I didn't build it anymore. There was no why behind it to drive me.
Lost your motivation.
Yes, totally lost my motivation and my business stayed the same, but that whole reason was gone. So the reason that I started that was like to be a stay-at-home mom eventually. Now, I'll tell you this also, I didn't start growing my business till I got married. I was playing with it, dabbling with it, right? But when I started to really have that deadline for my dream, my why increased, right? So my business went from 0 to hero in a matter of 2 years. And I was earning enough to live on. But when my why disappeared, flatline. Now I had started selling Juice Plus when I was in my 20s. I didn't start taking it to the next level till I was in my 30s. Just to give you, well, really it was at the end of my 20s. And I ended up also taking on selling Cutco, which shaped what I do now because I took it on at a level of being second in the nation, of training others as being a branch manager. So I learned from Tom Hopkins and all of these, Brian Tracy in sales. And it was pretty amazing to have that paired with the personal development, paired with the nutrition and, that whole personal growth that Juice Plus had given me. I started studying to be a certified natural health practitioner. And all of that happened before I went in to train the trainer. Just to give you a little bit of background, right? So they have you write out a story that you're going to share. And I had a name for my training, and it was called Love You to Health. That was going to be the name of my book. But what I realized was people thought I was saying hell. I'm like, no, that's not it. I'm like, I'm going to have to change this. And health has a connotation of just your physical well-being when you say it. But I wanted to train people mind, body, spirit, not just their physical body. And I changed it in the course of writing the book to be, I love myself so ... And the point of that is, what are you going to do about it? And that encompasses everything you do. And then the next book will be Love You to Life, because it speaks to me more than Love You to Health. It speaks about the whole body, about your whole life, right? About loving yourself to enliven your life and enrich your life and those lives around you. And what does Love You to Life mean? It means literally use that verb, love, to love yourself to life. And I help people with that by finding their why, finding their passion, digging into it, and having fun bringing that out so that they now love their life and everything about it now. And they're creating something they're going to love into the future. And that's what I work on with people.
Well, awesome. That was a lot of information.
Right?
We're going to be taking a quick break. When we get back, there's a couple things I would like to expand on that you mentioned.
Okay.
One is the importance of expanding your community.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly is that without health, what is life?
Yes.
And then, because the two to me are synonymous, they need to be.
Yes.
And then thirdly, I believe you have a challenge that's getting ready to start right after Valentine's Day, which is this Sunday.
Yes. Next Monday, the 15th, the You Can Have It All
We'll go
challenge.
into detail in just a minute. Yeah, the Have It All challenge. So we're going to go into that in just a few minutes, but we do need to take a quick little break for our sponsors.
Awesome.
So we'll be back with the Feel Better, Move Better, Be Better podcast in just a moment.
Hey, Eric Remmel here, producer of the Feel Better, Move Better, Be Better podcast, and I'm here today to tell you about the amazing folks at Peaceful Warriors Wellness Center. Not only am I a producer of the show, but I'm also a client. Their staff of therapists are truly the best at what they do. Now is your chance to check them out for yourself. Go to their website, peacefulwarriorswellness.com, and click Book Now, or give them a call at 727-822-8866. Use the promo code RADIO and get $15 off your first visit. Yes, you heard me right. $15 off your first visit. Now, this is just for a limited time, and make sure to tell them that you heard about it on heliumradio.com.
So welcome back to the Feel Better, Move Better, Be Better podcast. My name is Scott Roberts, your host today, and I'm joined by my guest, Corey Jenkins. How you doing?
Hello, everyone. I'm doing awesome. Thank you.
All right. So there's a few things that Corey spoke about in the first part of our podcast. And the first thing I would like to expand on, and it's a great phrase that I've heard recently, and that is that your diet, and people misuse the word diet and think of something negative. Your diet is whatever you're consuming, period. So if you're consuming cheeseburgers, hamburgers, hot dogs, candy, potato chips, that's your diet.
Yeah.
If you're consuming fruits and vegetables, that's your diet.
Yeah.
So being on a diet is not supposed to be negative. It's just you can influence and change it to be healthier than what you may currently be doing. But the first thing that you had said that I wanted to expand on is your diet is not just what you eat. It's what you read, what you watch, what you listen to, and who you surround yourself with.
Yes.
So one of the things that I've learned in just over 4 months that I've been with Juice Plus, and you've mentioned it many times in the first part of our podcast here, is that it is an incredible community of like-minded, health-oriented people that are focused on not just the physical aspects of health, but also really focus on the mental and emotional,
Yes.
or sometimes some people say spiritual
hmm
components of your health and wellness, which is all has to come together to create a synergistic whole as opposed
Right.
to separate little pieces.
Yeah, you got to have a balanced wheel or a balanced diet, right? Mind, body, spirit, not just the health isn't just what you eat and what you consume, like in your mouth. It's in your eyes, it's in your ears, it's in your skin, it's in your
It's in
environment,
your
it's in your
brain.
energy, everything. Yes.
So one of the biggest components to that is self-talk.
Yes. And we
And we have such a
actually,
propensity to have negative self-talk.
yes. And it's important to so many people have it, myself included. It just happens, right? It's noticing it that makes the difference. When you notice it, you can make a change.
Yeah.
When you notice that you're having self-talk that's negative, you can make a change. But some people don't even notice. It's so in the background that they don't notice it. So I help bring that out actually in the challenge that's coming up. We focus on creating what I call a love reel. And what the love reel does is it gives you positive self-talk and helps you create yourself and as a new person, and really see yourself as a new person and start finding the good. Finding the good is the most important thing anyone can do. Find the good in yourself, find the good in your environment, find the good in your life, in the people around you. You can start to call out the good when you find it and you're looking for it. But you have to look for it to find it, right? Because you find what you're looking for. So if you're always talking negatively to yourself, you're always going to continue to find negative things to talk about, right?
Well, and you manifest those things,
Yes.
and then they become your reality.
Yes. Thoughts
And
become things.
what's interesting is it takes at least 10 positives to outweigh one negative,
That
or
sounds about right.
something
Sounds about right.
incredibly crazy
Yeah.
like that. So someone says, you suck. Well,
Oh,
that hits pretty hard. You're like, geez, okay. But you need at least 10 more, hey, I love yous. And
you can
man,
give
that's
those to
great. You did a
yourself.
good job.
You can give those to yourself.
Sure.
Yeah.
But my point is we tend to give way too much credibility to the negativity and
Agreed.
much less credibility to the positivity.
Yes.
Most people have a really difficult time accepting compliments because they don't feel that way themselves. So it's really important to be in a constant state of feeding yourself
With good thoughts. Yeah.
with good stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Your words create your world. And when you can start to craft your words, you can create a world that works for you. When you pay attention to the words you use and you focus on what you want to create, so many people focus on what they don't want. And your subconscious mind misses the don'ts, the no's, the nots. And so when you focus on what you do want, it hears that and starts to call to you the resources to create it. But when you focus on what you don't want, guess what? It hears that you want that. So it focuses on how to create that. If you're focused on what you want, then that's in your mind. And you're activating what we call the reticular activating system. And it's this piece of your brain that it's that thing when you say, I want a new Prius. You start seeing Priuses everywhere. Whereas the day before you said that, you saw maybe one. Now you see 10 in a day because your brain starts focusing on that. So if you feed your brain the things that you want, it starts focusing on how do I create that? Where is that in the world? And it starts seeing things it wouldn't have seen had you been focusing on what you don't want.
Do people really want Priuses?
I did. And I got
I'm
one.
just teasing. Nothing wrong with the car at all. I was just
Everybody
being funny.
gives me crap for it. I'm not going to lie. But
no, it's a great vehicle
Yeah.
in many aspects. So it's I was just being funny.
I
as an
know.
opportunity.
I can take it.
But yeah, it's important to go from your thoughts to your words to your actions
hmm
to your reality.
Yeah.
as a whole, those steps have to occur. So
Yes.
you really have to start at the very beginning
Yes.
with what thoughts are you manifesting that are going to become your words, that will become your actions, that will become your behaviors,
Right.
that will become your personality. Those are
And
each incremental steps.
I wanna actually talk about something really important, because you can become somebody different without all of those steps, and that shapes your world. So when you literally change your state, and it can take a second, you have to figure out how to choose to be somebody different. And what I mean by that is one of my ways of being is I'm a free, open, playful, passionate woman. Okay. But that doesn't really fit well with certain instances, right? When I want to be up in front of people speaking or leading or inspiring, I love the compassionate, inspirational, loving leader that comes out of me. So those are ways of being that you can call into existence in a moment and change your state so that when you're in an interaction with someone and you want a specific outcome, you want that interaction to come from the way of being that would make the most difference for you. You want that interaction to come from a way of being that's going to create what you want to create in the world in that moment, because it's different.
That all sounds incredibly intriguing and sounds like something a lot of people could benefit from. So how does somebody get a hold of you? What is your website? What's the name of your book? Where can your book be found? How would they sign up for
Challenge.
your
Okay. So
challenge?
they can find me at, the name of my book is I Love Myself So. That's also my website, .com. ilovemyselfso.com will get them to download a free sample of the book, get a free guide to how to love your life now. It's a simple starter guide, but it'll get you an idea of some steps that'll really help you. And then they can also go for the challenge to loveyoutolife.com, the name of my company. Loveyoutolife.com gets them the challenge. Right now it's free. They can do the free or paid version. The paid version actually includes coaching with it. So you get group coaching on the action steps to take. You're going to have questions about those, and you can post your questions in the Facebook group. But if you want some interaction, I offer that for just $37 this week. And next time I run it, it's going to be $97. So it's great to get in now. So that includes a love life strategy session afterwards, one-on-one with me. And that's not something I can provide future forward because it's a lot of time, right? But I really want the people that start with me on right after Valentine's Day, because it's a special day to love, right? It's focused on love. So I'm giving this away as a gift because my goal is to spread love in the world. And I can't do that if the message doesn't reach more people, right? And it's the challenge is designed to bring out your passions, retrain your brain to think of you in a loving way, and start to give you tools that you can access to change your state and start creating that life you love. And also really improve your relationship, which is why it's perfect for Valentine's Day, right?
It does.
Because if you change to being a good finder, think about how it would be in a relationship if you aren't a good finder. And all you're doing is picking out, like you pick on yourself, you pick on that other person, right? And you tear them down, or you're loving people to death, including yourself. With being a good finder and loving people to life, you start to find the good in them. So I help people find the good in their life, in the people around them, and in themselves, and then start to create the good going forward so that they're focused in a direction that has them loving their life ongoingly. And no matter what, that's the important thing. When crud hits the fan, right? Who are you? And if you can change your state in those moments to be a person that takes that challenge head on and finds the good in it, because there's good in almost every challenge, right? It's sometimes
It's an
hidden.
opportunity.
Yes, it can be a huge opportunity. I just recently got over COVID, and this is a perfect example of finding the good in any situation. I found out that I was having symptoms before I arrived at my family's house. I found out that I was having symptoms before I could, infect anyone else. And I turned around. It was a 10-mile drive home at that point because I was almost to St. Louis to see my family for my birthday the next day. Now, it's hard to think of someone finding the good in getting COVID and getting stuck in a hotel instead of seeing their family and friends. I was actually going to stay with my Juice Plus family that night, who I hadn't seen in a year. And then I was going to go to my, family. So I end up in a hotel in Chattanooga, Tennessee by myself for my birthday. And I wake up, fever, aches, all of that. I'm like, how can I find the good in this situation? I've never seen Chattanooga, Tennessee. And although I didn't feel the best, I had an opportunity to travel, which I love. That is one of my passions. I just spent 3 years traveling before I moved to Dunedin, Florida. And I got up that day. I took a hot bath because I love that, to take care and love on myself, to take care of me because I didn't feel the best. Then I got my butt out. Couldn't walk down the street for coffee because I didn't want to infect anyone. But I got in my car and did a driving tour of Chattanooga and drove up to Lookout Mountain. The leaves were still changing colors. It was a gorgeous blue sky day with puffy white clouds, and it was shining down on the leaves and making them glint. I got my mom on the phone, and we had a great chat like we were on our road trip that we were supposed to take together. And then I figured out how to have my road trip still happen. So I get back home, go through COVID, get on the phone with my family and Zoom that whole week, because they're all together for my birthday, for Thanksgiving and Christmas. We were supposed to celebrate it together, and I'm missing it. But I still got on the phone. We played cards. We, chatted. We did all the family time stuff that we did. I just wasn't in person with them, right? And then my mom flew down to see me when I tested negative, and we still did our road trip. We just did it one way. So it saved her having to go both ways, because that's a lot on a 75-year-old woman to 1,000-something miles. It was awesome. We had an amazing time. We got to experience each other in the good times and the bad. I got to see my family wanting to take care of me, and it was still an awesome birthday. Even though I didn't get to go and be with my family, I still created something amazing. So what can you do in those moments of challenge? Turn it into something amazing. And we talk about turning those frustrations into fascination. And I got fascinated with my situation and figured out a way to, what I say is, turn the what do you call those? Stumbling blocks into stepping stones to reach your dreams. So that's what I help people do.
That sounds great. Well, it's been a pleasure having you as a guest on our podcast today.
It's been a pleasure
Thank you so
being
much
here,
for joining
Scott.
us.
Thank you.
And it really speaks into what I feel that we're all about here in our business, which is to help people feel better,
Yes.
move better, and ultimately to be better. And much like you pointed out earlier, these are action verbs:
Yes.
loving, being,
Yes.
and we are human beings.
Yes. Not human doings, which we sometimes get caught in.
We do. So please take the time, go to I love my life so.com.
I love myself so.
I love myself so.com.
For the book.
Thank you for the correction.
No worries.
So
And
that
then
you
love
can
you to life.
connect with Corey. Find her on Facebook as well.
Yeah, let's love you to life coach.
Okay. And sign up for her challenge. And then I think you'll really benefit from it. So again, this is Scott Roberts from Peaceful Warriors Wellness Center. Thank you for joining us today. Feel better, move better, and be better.
Thank you for listening to Helium Radio. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own and should not be construed in any way as advice from Helium Radio. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our website. Personal perspectives expressed by the producers, writers, and editors will always be presented as such. Any rebroadcast or retransmission without the express written consent of Helium Radio is strictly prohibited. Thanks for listening.